Hi everyone, welcome to the video. It's October, or the last week of October actually, and we're getting into the kind of the last stages of autumn here in the Western Europe region. And this means that there's a lot of migrations of different species of birds coming over the Netherlands to go south for the winter. Now this video is a little bit different to my usual video in that it's not stock photography based, but the images that I'm taking will be used for my stock photography portfolio. So you decide for yourself whether this video is for you. It's more of a wildlife video than a stock photography video. So just to say that and be clear from the start so you guys can decide. Anyway, the birds are migrating to the south of Europe and northern Africa at the moment. So it's a great time to get out if you like bird photography and photograph the swarms of different, as I say that, a woodpecker is just flying over, a great spotted woodpecker. It's a great time to capture some unique images, especially of birds in flight. So yesterday I went to my favorite area for photographing migrating flying birds, and I was given an absolute treat that some bird watchers and birders have not seen for 20 years in this part of the Netherlands. So I got to the area and the sun had just come up. What I've been using for my birds is a very old setup. It's a Canon 400mm crop sensor, 20 megapixel sensor, paired with an unstabilized 400mm F5.6 L lens. So because I'm going for birds in flight, it doesn't really need the image stabilization that much, and my settings reinforce that. I was shooting mostly at 4,000th of a second, aperture f7.1, and the lowest shutter speed I got down to was 2500th of a second. And that was giving me ISOs of between 250 in the lower end, and the upper end, I think the highest ISO was 5000, which needed Lightroom denoise software to reduce the noise, especially in the blue sky and the feather detail of the birds. So that's just what I'm shooting with. As things started to hot up, little pockets of finches would be flying over, and I was lucky enough to get a photo of this finch as it came over, and it had the sun just in the right spot. But with this finch, it was flying south and the sun was still in the east, so it was getting a lot of good side light, and it wasn't too far away. So I got even a bit of speckled highlight in the eye of the finch, and I got some good feather detail with the wings and also the feathers on the body. And I put this photo into Lightroom. It had ISO of 640 and it was taken at 3200th of a second. My aperture is always f7.1 for these photos. We've got some more finches here, and this one I thought I'd do as a square crop, and I'm trying to give the photo some symmetry here with most of the bodies of the finches exposed, and the light is kind of perfect. Same settings again, except the shutter speed for this one was 1/4000th of a second, and these photos are all denoised in Lightroom. And there weren't only birds coming in flight, but there were also some migratory birds coming on the ground, well, in the shrubs on the ground, and going from vegetation patch to vegetation patch. And this is a gold crest, which I've never photoed before, kind of checking me out and wondering who this guy with the big white things pointing at him is. And yeah, this little gold crest was nice enough to pose for me for a few seconds, and same settings, except the conditions were a bit darker with the bushes, and the ISO for this went up to 4000. And at this time I was with a group of bird watchers who were occupying the place with me as well. And each time a bird would come over, I'd hear, oh, 4 herring gulls, someone would say quite calmly. And in this case, someone calmly said, sparrowhawk. I thought, sparrowhawk? Holy shit! I've never photographed a sparrowhawk before. And unfortunately, as I noticed where the sparrowhawk in the sky was, he was kind of backlit. So I really had to edit the yin-yang out of this photo in reducing the shadows on the bottom of the wings and the body, which were quite dark. 4,000th of a second and ISO 640, and denoised in Lightroom as well, with heavy editing to reduce the shadows as this sparrowhawk flew past me. And these sparrowhawks are shadowing all of these finches and starlings and thrushes that are swarming over the Netherlands at the moment. And these sparrowhawks, they're probably picking off the ones that are weakest or more tired or just not paying attention. And they're following these swarms of birds from north to south. My attention got distracted again by this blue tit, whose plumage is really wet at the moment, but he's capturing the early morning light quite nicely. There were 3 little branches towards the back of the finch, but I edited them out in Lightroom. And this was at ISO 1000, f7.1 as usual, and 1/4000th of a second. I didn't need to have the shutter speed so high, but I was set up for birds in flight, and the Lightroom denoise took care of a lot of the excess noise that was in this image. And we've got probably my best photo of a blue tit to date, and I just love the pose of this one. And you've got some sunlight glinting in his eyes, or her eyes, and you've just got beautiful colors with the plumage. And this one, like the other one, isn't wet, so it looks in good condition as well. And while I was there, I also heard, I think someone said silverreiger, which is another word for white heron or great heron, or great egrets I should say, white egrets. And unbelievably, a flock of egrets were just calmly flying straight over where like 10 or 12 people were standing. And I just managed to get these nice bird shots in flight with 4 of them in the frame. I had to reduce the shadows under the wings because they were side lit from the right there, which meant half of their body was in shadow. I tried not to overdo it, and denoise took care of a lot of the noise from reducing those shadows. 4,000th of a second shutter speed and ISO 800. And then luckily one of the group kind of split off to the right and caught some side light which illuminated its feathers, and I rattled off a burst of shots. And this is the best shot I think I got, and that's where his entire body is illuminated, including the eye, and you see the nice colours of the beak and details in the feet. and feathers, and yeah, very happy with that shot. And there's another shot where I get 3 of the birds in, and they're all flying in the same pose, which is quite unusual and fun. And here I have a shot of 3 starlings, and they're all belting past at probably 100 kilometers an hour or more, and their side lit nicely as well, and the colors of their plumage is being brought out nicely by the light. 500 ISO and 4,000th of a second shutter speed there. And this one is of a redwing, which I was happy to get. There are a lot of redwings flying over, and sometimes they mix with finches and starlings as well, so it's hard to pick out one species from the other when they're all kind of flying over in a group, probably for safety as well. And you see the beautiful colour of the underwing there and the mottled plumage. And this was sharpened in Lightroom a lot. For some reason I didn't get it quite crisp, maybe I was a bit shaky. And 4,000th of a second shutter speed at ISO 800. And then the group of bird watchers behind me said sparrowhawk again, like they weren't that excited by it, or maybe that's just their way. They just get more enthusiasm out of watching it rather than telling everyone that there's one coming. And another sparrowhawk came over, and this one came directly over me, so I was kind of leaning back, rattling off shot after shot at it, and I was a bit taken by surprise. So a lot of the shots were shaky, but this one wasn't. And I got some nice highlights in the eyes to bring out those beautiful, striking, typical sparrowhawk eyes. But I did have to reduce the shadows under the wings because he was kind of back and side lit. But I'm really happy to have got this photo because he was quite close. Heavily denoised, 1600 ISO this one, and 4,000th of a second shutter speed. And this one's another one with different wing position and also a little bit closer. Same settings again, except not the same settings. The ISO's a little bit higher with this one at 2000. Good details in the feathers and the feet. Beautiful animal. And while these spectacular birds were flying past, we also get the bread and butter shots here in the coast of the Netherlands, and that's of a swarm of cormorants who roost around the area where I'm from, and then every morning they all fly out as a group into the sea and go fishing off the coast. These ones were flying more north to south, so I'm not sure if they were actually migrating or not, or whether they'd been fishing further up the coast. But I'm sure cormorants also migrate at certain times of the year, such as the oncoming winter. And then something really strange happened. I heard this very excited voice behind me, and one of the bird watchers shouted, "Zwarte. I thought, huh? Black woodpecker? I didn't think we get black woodpeckers at this part of the Netherlands." And 2 or 3 of the guys around me said, no. And the guy who said black woodpecker said, oh, I heard it. It made this kind of noise. And then people were umming and ahhing whether it really was a black woodpecker because he only heard it rather than saw it. And then one of the voices said, there! It's in the bushes. And another birdwatcher said, where? You know, really urgently, almost annoyed because he couldn't find it, and the person who saw it first didn't say where it was. And anyway, the guy who saw it shouted, there! It's in the air where those bushes are. It's coming at us. And as one, the group moved kind of forward where I was standing. I think I kind of move forward as well. I didn't push anyone out of the way, but I was damn keen to get a shot of it. And then, holy shit! the bird watchers just kind of exploded with enthusiasm as I saw this dot in the sky of this bird, this black bird coming towards us. It was a small dot at this stage. I thought, is that a woodpecker? It was bigger than the usual woodpeckers we get around here, the great spotted woodpecker, for example. I think they're about twice the size, or maybe even more. But I got a photo of this spot in the sky, and that's what you see here. It's heavily cropped because it was quite a way away at this stage. But I just thought I'd get a security shot because it was coming straight at us. So I think I rattled off 2 shots. I was in burst mode. And then it got a bit closer and spread out its wings. And I rattled off some more shots. And then you can see that it clearly is a woodpecker, and they fly quite strangely. They fly, well, this one was flying strangely with its mouth open, which seemed a bit odd to me. Someone yelled out, "Oh, it's a female," and then as it was coming straight at us, the people around me were getting so excited. I thought, oh shit, they're getting really noisy now. Are they going to scare the thing away? Anyway, it got a bit closer, and then I think it saw the group, or maybe heard the group, which is not surprising, and then it went to the right of us, so that it was backlit, which was a bit frustrating for me because I was hoping it would go the other way and get beautiful morning light on its feathers as it flew past. But I did manage to get this shot, and it's taken, all these shots are at 400mm, of course, and it's taken at 1/4000th of a second at ISO 500 at f7.1, and I was happy to get the wings in the right position, and also the eye was illuminated, so I think the sun was kind of a bit head on as well, which gave a bit of extra kind of illumination to the wingtips. And it's flying over with its mouth open as well. Maybe it was calling, but I don't recall hearing it, although there were a lot of excited voices behind me. I've reduced the shadows a lot in this to get some feather detail, and it's also heavily denoised. Got another one just as it was turning away from us, this time with its mouth closed, or its beak closed. Still a bit of feather detail, and it's flying towards the sun now. And then the last shot as it flew away, and there was quite a commotion in the group. One person said they hadn't seen a black woodpecker in this part of the Netherlands for 20 years. Another guy said, "Oh, you come to where I go in the east and you can see it every day." But they are a rare bird in this part of Europe. We do get them in the east of the Netherlands and the north of the Netherlands, but not in huge numbers, and they're quite rare to find. So I think to finish off my morning of photographing migratory birds in flight, to get sparrowhawks, those egrets flying over in formation, and finally the black woodpecker, was the feather in the cap of the morning's shoot. So it made for a great day's bird shooting. Well, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, and don't hesitate to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!